What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Ryan Pineda Show. We talk all things money, real estate, and entrepreneurship. And in today's episode, I'm going to give you the top 5 mistakes to avoid when flipping houses. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Ryan Pineda. Obviously, that's what my show is called. And I've been flipping houses since 2015. We've reached the point in my company where we're consistently doing over 100 a year. And we've done a lot of good things to get to that point, but we've made a ton of mistakes. And what's funny is I have a coaching program and I teach many of my students how to flip houses and invest in real estate. And many of those students have either made or almost made these same exact mistakes. So the point is, these did not just come out of nowhere. They are things that I'm consistently seeing on a daily basis, both in my business and others. So make sure you stay with me till the end of this video, because just avoiding one of these things can save you tens of thousands of dollars. So let's jump into the top 5 mistakes. Mistake number 1 is underestimating your timeline. I see a lot of people when they get into real estate investing be very optimistic. They'll be calculating their numbers and then they'll put a 3-month flip. And personally, we don't have many flips that are 3 months. Typically, the only way we have a 3-month flip is if we're selling it as is or it's a very, very light rehab. But the full renovation flips typically never sell in 3 months. Let's say you're planning for a 2-month rehab because you're doing a pretty big project. You'd have to assume that that doesn't go over at all, which would be rare. Typically, rehabs go over timeline and over budget, not under. And then you'd have to get a really good offer the very first day, and that offer would have to have no issues and close in 30 days. If everything goes in the perfect world scenario, yes, you can close in 3 months. But as we know, things don't always work like that. A lot of times the rehab timeline will go over 2-3 weeks, and then the property sits on the market for a month or 2 months. And then a buyer backs out of the deal, and then you have to put it back on the market. And sure enough, this flip has now taken 6 to 7 months. For us, on average, our flips are taking about 5 months, because those things always happen. You may get the ones that go perfectly, and then you may get the nightmares, and then you may get the ones in between. But for us, it averages to about 5 months. So make sure you're giving yourself a realistic timeline. The second big mistake I see is very similar to this, and that is underestimating the rehab cost. So I'll see a lot of people look at a house and say, oh man, I could get this done for $20,000, when in reality it's a $40,000 job. And maybe they just don't know how to run the numbers and they don't know what it truly will cost. Or maybe in their mind, they're thinking that they can do everything themselves and get it done for $20,000. Whatever the case may be, you should not run your numbers that way. Get a true rehab cost. And a true rehab cost is when you go out to hire someone else to do this job. Because you will never scale your flipping business if you are the one doing the work on your home. You personally can only work on 1 home at a time. You cannot do 10. So start estimating your rehab costs the right way. The third big mistake I see is also part of the rehab process, and that is actually overdoing the rehab. And I see a lot of flippers get into that mindset of, well, I wouldn't want this in my house, so I need to do this. It's like, no, flipping houses is a business. You have to make money to be profitable and to continue doing it later on. You're not building your dream home every time you flip a house. Some examples of over renovation that I see. Some flippers will take the popcorn ceiling out of every single house. And we'll take it out of a bunch of houses as well, but if all the comps have popcorn ceiling and that's what the buyers expect, why am I gonna get rid of the popcorn ceiling? It may not add any value to the home, yet it costs me more money. So anytime you're renovating, you wanna make sure you're getting at least 2 to 1 for your renovation dollars. So what I mean by that is, if you spend $1 on renovation, it should yield $2 in profit. And if removing popcorn ceilings cost you $1,000, but it makes you no extra money or even $1,000 more, then you shouldn't do it. It would have to make you $2,000 for it to be worthwhile. I see the same thing with countertops, flooring, and other finishes. At the end of the day, you have to renovate based on the comps. I have a saying I tell my students: copy the comps. The comps have already proved what works. They've told you what the value is, what kind of renovation you need to do to hit that value. There's not really anything confusing about it. Just copy them. So don't over renovate. The fourth mistake I see a lot of flippers make is speculating on the ARV. For us, anytime we flip, we want to just use what's already sold. So if I see a comp at $300,000 and it's in very similar condition to what I'm going to make my home, then I am anticipating that I'm gonna sell this house for $300,000. And it works both ways. I don't wanna be too conservative. If I say it's $280,000 or $290,000, I'm gonna lose the deal because somebody's gonna pay more than me. But I don't wanna say, oh, it's probably gonna get $310,000 or $320,000. There's not many other houses on the market. Mine's gonna be better. You don't wanna speculate on other things you can't control. Like I said before, for us, I wanna copy the comps. If the comp is $300,000 and it's done at this level of rehab, that's exactly what I wanna do. I don't wanna overdo my rehab, because if I do, then I'm trying to get that 310, 320, and the appraiser may not give me the value for it. So I would rather just try and copy what's already been done. And I don't want to speculate and try and get an ARV that doesn't exist yet. The fifth mistake I see is people not factoring in money cost. So the money cost, or whatever it costs you to get the loan for that property. Now, if you're buying it all cash, okay, you don't really have money cost. But many people starting out don't realize how expensive money can be. If you've got to pay a couple of points and you're paying a high interest hard money loan, that is gonna play a big role in your profit. I see a lot of new flippers saying, well, my purchase price is this, I'm gonna minus out my rehab costs, I'm gonna minus out my realtor commissions, I'm minusing out closing costs, and there's my profit. Like, no, you're still missing money cost, which is a huge part of the equation. You're also missing your holding costs like utilities, taxes, insurance. But the money costs are what will burn a lot of people. So before you make all these offers on all these flips, make sure you understand what your money cost is. And money cost is very similar to rehab cost. If you've got money and you're going all cash, that's great, but you're gonna run out of cash at some point. We all only have so much money. So start evaluating deals as if you did have money cost. It's just like the rehab. Yeah, maybe you can do the rehab yourself for this one, but you can't do that on all the other flips. In order to scale your business, you have to start hiring people out, using other people's money, and having these costs on every single deal. That's how we run our business. I'm not trying to cut cost on a particular section to make a deal work. I'm not saying I've never done that. I've done it plenty of times, and that's why I'm telling you not to do it. Anytime I've ever tried to manipulate the numbers to make the deal work, I'm usually going down a rabbit hole into a bad deal. Sometimes I'll say, well, maybe the ARV could be this. Maybe we can get rehab down to this. Maybe we can get one of our lenders to do it for less. Anytime you start asking yourself those questions, that means the deal's probably not very good. Because if the deal was good, you wouldn't be asking yourself those questions. You'd be saying, wow, this is a great deal. Even despite all these costs, we're gonna make a lot of money. So that's a good bonus tip. When you start questioning your costs, trying to manipulate them to make them work, you probably don't have a good deal. So in conclusion, let's recap the top 5 mistakes so you do not make them. Number 1, underestimating your timeline. Number 2, underestimating your rehab. Number 3, over renovating. Number 4, speculating on your ARV. And number 5, not knowing your money cost. If you do any one of those things wrong, it could cost you tens of thousands of dollars. And potentially hundreds of thousands depending on your market. So try and be as accurate and unemotional as possible when looking at numbers. It's easy to get your emotions involved and say you love the deal, you love the house, you want to get it going. I understand, I've been there. But try and be as objective, unemotional, and just look at the data and what it's telling you every time you're evaluating a deal. But anyways, I appreciate you guys for watching this video. Do me a big favor, go hit that like button if you haven't already. I don't know why you wouldn't, but go subscribe to my channel. We got great content coming out daily. And if you don't follow me on Instagram and TikTok, make sure you go ahead and do that. And until next time, take care.